Hey everyone, and welcome into another PHNX Suns pregame show. I'm Lindsay Smith, and I've got Espo here with me tonight. Espo, is just the two of us holding it down here on the Friday after Thanksgiving. How are you?
Yeah, and they let us work from home, which I prefer the camera shot in here because you only see shoulders up, but I hate having to actually run everything on this end. So it's hit or miss right now is what I'm saying. We'll make
Yeah.
it worth everybody's while, but we're doing our best. All right.
I feel you on that. This is the first time we've recorded one of these for me anyway, remotely, and I'm kind of like all out of sorts. I don't know. I have my microphone sitting on a box on my lap, so if it drops, I'm sorry.
Uh,
But as
Noob.
always, yeah, I know, right? As always, we are brought to you by our friends over at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Right now, if you sign up using the code PHNX and you place just a $1 bet on any NFL team to score a point, you're going to win $100 in free bets. It is that easy. All
And
right, so
also,
tonight, yeah, go ahead.
hold on. Let me also tell the people about this. 50% profit boost on any first field goal made that you can get with this the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So if you want to join Crowder's Cash Club tonight, it's a great night to do it. You bet him to hit the first field goal. You opt into that profit boost. You're going to get 50% more than your bet would have won anyways. And it's already a plus 1,000. So if you want to join, tonight's the night. And we've had lots of people become members of the Crowder's Cash Club. And now I just hope he hits. I actually double dipped. I have 2 bets on him doing it tonight. So
Wait, what? How do you do that?
because the profit boost can only go so much. So my regular 100 that I
Oh,
do on it, that I've done on it the last 4 games, exceeded that profit boost. So I went for the total, the max I could get with the profit boost, and then I did my normal 100. So it could be a big night in the Espo household. Hey, our
I
friend
love
Saul
that.
Bookman, part of the Crowder's Cash Club tonight. Saul, I hope we win you some sweet cash tonight.
I hope you guys win. I love that bet. Then and that it's become a thing here at PHNX, and all of the viewers are also in on it. I hope you guys win big tonight. That would be the best way to top off Thanksgiving dinner for sure. How was your
And
Thanksgiving, Espo?
it was good, quiet, which I prefer after how busy the last few months have been. So it was
Yeah.
nice. Just spent it with my parents and then my wife and daughter. How about yours, Lindsay? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. We had a few issues. The pot, like the thing that you fry the turkey in, it broke right before we put the turkey in. So we had to makeshift that situation. And then the other turkey that was in the oven caught on fire for a little bit because the grease. So it was kind of a chaotic moment, but because I wasn't the one cooking or involved in that, it was kind of funny to me. Like it was subtle issues. It wasn't like a crazy kitchen fire or anything, but it was enough to give you a chuckle, but not enough to where you had to like call the fire department or anything.
Thus, why nobody cares about the turkey. I mean, the turkey's usually not the part you're there for, as we've discussed. So that's why nobody freaked out.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's take a look at what we've got in store for us tonight. It is the Suns and the Knicks. They are in Madison Square Garden. We all know Devin loves playing there. And of course, the Suns, they're looking to go 15 straight tonight.
Yeah, and Devin, the Suns have won 6 in a row against the Knicks. They've won 3 in a row at the Garden. This has been domination as of late when the Suns play New York. But we also know that includes some really bad Knicks teams from a few years ago. It's not. This isn't head to head this year. I still think the Suns will have their number, but I'm a little nervous that tonight again is going to be closer than it should be. I feel like this should be a win that the Suns can pile on if they play their best, but I'm just not convinced that tonight's the night that they come out and they play their complete game, especially knowing that they face the Nets tomorrow night in Brooklyn, which is the first real test this team has had all season. So I'm afraid they look forward. We talked about, oh, trap games, not really. I think this is the first time you legitimately could have a trap game because they're looking forward to that Nets game and may overlook the Knicks. The one benefit is it is the Garden. Madison Square Garden brings out the best in a lot of guys, as you mentioned, Devin Booker being one of them.
Well, I do think I agree with you. I also think that we've got a few things in our favor. So the Knicks are on the first night of a back-to-back as well, and they actually have to travel for tomorrow night's game. So they also have that kind of balance of not looking ahead, but also the same balance that the Suns are facing of wanting to get off to a good start and getting your starters out early. And then, of course, we've got the injury report. So let's get into what we've got as far as injuries for tonight's game. For the Phoenix Suns, it's the same as it has been for the last few days. No Frank, no Dario, no Abdul. And then
You can
on
call them
the
whatever
Knicks
you want.
side, I know. On the Knicks side, they're not going to have Derrick Rose. I believe I was on the coach's presser prior to the game. I couldn't hear anything. It was the most distorted Zoom call I've ever been on. But from what I gathered via that and social media, Derrick Rose is out. Taj Gibson is out. But Mitchell Robinson, who was on concussion protocols prior to the game, he's in. So there's a benefit to having Derrick Rose out for the Suns, and then there's a benefit for the Knicks to having Mitchell Robinson back in. And I got some stats to back it. You want to hear that?
Oh, you're bringing you're bringing stats. Gerald's off in New Mexico, and Lindsay's got the stats. All right, I'm here for it.
I'm going to do my best to fill into Gerald's role here. Okay. So we talked about Mitchell Robinson being back in tonight. So the last time the Suns and the Knicks played, DeAndre Ayton cooked Nerlens Noel. So having Mitchell back in is going to be great. DA in that last game, DA had 26 points and 15 rebounds compared to Noel's 5 points, 5 rebounds. So that's a point in favor for the Knicks. Now, on the flip side, when we're talking about Derrick Rose, Chris Paul, over his career has averaged roughly, okay, I'm going to give you the exact numbers, right? 18.3 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 9.4 assists. But in games that he plays against Derrick Rose, that's below average. He averages 16.3, 4.3, and 8.7 against Derrick Rose. So that's a point for the Suns. And
do you have a tiebreaker?
I do. So It's a point for the Suns here because in games where Chris Paul plays against Kemba Walker, he averages better, 19.3 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 9.8 assists. So we're 2-1 in the stats game. That's what I got so far as our injury report and what we're looking at matchup wise.
I believe post games from the closet where I am, the Suns are 1-0 this year. So there's that. Another one in favor of the Suns. And then they won a lot of the postseason games that we did post games for. So I'm feeling good. The closet, the walk-in closet in Mesa isn't going to be a deterrent for a win either. So we'll take that. I love that Lindsay took the time fighting the coma of turkey and the tryptophan to look up some fantastic stats. So thank you, Lindsay.
I got you. Every once in a while I can come through, especially when Saul and Gerald are out. I feel like I got to pick it up a little bit more. I can't rely on those two as heavily.
No, well, I mean, you can't rely on them at all when they're not here. I mean, we can when they're here,
Facts,
but when they're not here, we can't at all. Although Saul actually picking us up in the chat. So, by the way, I love the slight flex that you have going on behind you. I just noticed it. You've jammed your Emmy into a windowsill. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I figured I'd only bring one out for tonight just because, I was trying to find more Suns bobbleheads, but I don't know what I did with them. There must be tucked away somewhere. And I was like, where are they? So I was able to find Devin and then one Emmy. So that's what we got. And like a bunch of dead flowers.
If the second Emmy doesn't show up for post game, I don't believe it exists. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, man, that's a lot of pressure.
I don't believe it exists. Look, I think the obviously the injury report is in favor of the Suns. I mean, there's not anybody major that's out for the Suns. Derrick Rose does have an impact, obviously, as does Taj Gibson. I love the Knicks because they didn't officially put out anything in terms of their injuries. It said TBD. So
Yeah.
you have to scour the internet to find any information on their injury report. So, but when you look at it, and you've got Taj Gibson and Derrick Rose out. Obviously, that's in favor of the Suns. But this, to me, as it does in a lot of ways, comes in a lot of games, comes down to Devin Booker. Does
Yeah.
Devin Booker that we've seen against the Knicks, and in particular at the Garden, come out to play tonight? Do we get efficient Devin Booker that we saw drop 35 the other evening and was the game high? Does he come out and dominate? Because Devin loves the big stage. And so I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully show up and show out tonight in New York and do it early so they don't have to worry about that fourth quarter and turning it on and flipping that switch and winning late in a game. I don't need to see that tonight. I need this team to be ready to take on the Nets tomorrow night. That is what I'm most looking forward to. Is that so? Put the Knicks away early tonight.
Yes, I'm right there with you. The sooner we can kind of set this one aside, hopefully, if I'm being a little bit greedy here, but mid third quarter, I would take that. I would love that. But you're absolutely right, Espo. The sooner that they can put this one away, the better it's going to set them up for success for tomorrow night's game, which, as we've talked about all week, is one of the bigger tests of this 3-game stretch. And then you've got the Warriors coming up. So those 2 games are going to be really important. And how they approach the start of this game, I think, is going to say a lot about how the rest of the game will go. So hopefully they come out of the jump with a little bit of an edge, not sluggish from yesterday's Thanksgiving meal. I know a lot of them have their family in town, but hopefully one of the positives will be that mom wasn't able to cook because they were in a hotel. So maybe it wasn't as much food that was had last night because it wasn't as good as mom's home cooking.
Lindsay, it's New York City. They can get plenty of great food. I think
But it's
I
never
think
going
they're
to
all
be as
right.
good as mom's home cooking. So,
This
you
is
know what I'm
true, but you
saying?
may make up for the fact that you don't have moms by ordering a lot of whatever the expensive food you have in New York is. But Long John Silver 85, I got my hat from Just Sports. I love this hat. This is one of my favorites. I rarely rock a hat on the show, but I figured I'm sitting in a closet, so what the hell? I'll wear the hat tonight for this. So.
It's a solid hat, Espo. I like it too. I think you should bring it out more often.
Oh, I should. All right, I'll work on it. We've got Manuel in the chat saying, "Dang, first Lindsay killed Frank. Now she looks like she got Saul and Gerald. They got to do the podcast on location. Where they on the land?"
Well, you just don't want to end up on my hit list. That's all I'm saying.
I have not fully recovered. So
Oh,
I actually had to, you know how hard it is to get into a hospital on Thanksgiving, you get wounds taken care of. I had to do
yeah.
that, Lindsay, just because I was still hurting from the shrapnel I took the other night.
Oh
So,
no. I hope your heart heals soon, Espo. It's
oh,
all love
wait,
over
wait,
here. It's all love.
wait a second. Shane can't, I'm sitting here pushing buttons, producing this thing, and Shane's in the chat. Hello,
Yeah,
friends. All right,
he was
Shane.
too
Don't
busy hitting up the chat and watching to come produce our show for us.
Don't you have ASU to go worry about, Shane? Don't they have another basketball game to lose? Anyways.
All right. So, shall we take a look at what Vegas thinks about tonight's
Yes.
game and look at the line from the DraftKings Sportsbook app?
Yeah, Suns favored by 3.5 tonight. So a little closer than it has been as of late in those in these point spreads, which leads me to believe they think that this is going to be a game that's closer than well, obviously than closer than we're hoping for. They are not thinking it's going to be a blowout. Obviously, the Knicks get the benefit of being at home, but to me, the Suns have been in NYC for a few days now. I don't think this is going to be they're tired kind of situation, and they get the benefit of they don't have to travel tonight. Brooklyn is a bus ride away, a 20-minute bus ride away from where they're staying, so they'll just stay in the same hotel again tonight. So overall, I don't think that'll be a distraction. It just looks like Vegas thinks these are two fairly evenly matched teams tonight.
Well, I don't know about you, Espo, but you asked for my pick, and I definitely favor the Suns a little bit more than Vegas does in this one. So let's throw up our picks and talk about those. I've got the Suns by 6 tonight because I've got faith in them. I think that because Devin has played so historically well at the Garden, we're going to see a repeat of that, right? Like it's not going to be a surprise when Devin comes out with those bright lights on him, feeling like he's on a stage, stepping up to the plate and willing his team to win. So that's why I picked the Suns by 6.
Yeah, I just I want them to win big. I just don't feel that it's going to happen. We've seen it over the last handful of games. They've been much closer at the end than anybody would like. Pretty much, you knew that the Suns were going to win in most cases, but tonight I feel like this is going to come down to a big moment, and it's likely going to be Book because he's the guy that wants the ball in his hands at that moment, and I feel like it's going to be Suns by 2 tonight. It's just a weird feeling. I don't know what to equate it to, but I think it's going to be a buzzer beater kind of night for the Suns. Saul has the Suns by 782.
He's
He's
got
really
all the
feeling.
faith in the world.
And Gerald, Knicks by 14 billion. I thought that was a bit much.
Jeez.
That's
I
actually
think
the
it might have been
number.
that Thanksgiving hangover from all of that food and then Jack Fire and Coke that he had.
Well, and the green and red chili, yeah, all that on his Thanksgiving meal. Actually, the 14 billion. You guys know we make up big expertise out here. That 14 billion is the amount made on Black Friday last year. So,
Dang, for real? That's a lot.
yeah, just
Do you do any Black Friday
a bit of
shopping?
money made. Did I go? No, I looked, but I didn't see anything I really needed, and so I decided I'm going to spend the money on Jay Crowder trying to hit the first field goal.
You got to spend money to make money, Espo. I'm with you on that. No, I
Yeah,
didn't really either. It feels, I don't know. Black Friday always feels like the sales aren't really sales. I guess it's almost like it's just a feeling of getting a sale because it's Black Friday. So I don't know. But Robert
hey,
York in the comments said, aren't we all full of weird feelings?
yeah, that's called indigestion from yesterday. I think is really what it is.
I kind of can relate. And I don't know if it's just because, like, again, this word, the hangover from the last decade of Suns basketball, if it's hard to just kind of fully break that habit and that cycle. But I kind of understand what you're saying. If that's what you're saying, Robert, if you're on a different wavelength, let me know in the comments. But I kind of feel like sometimes I am a little bit nervous. Like when we face the Mavs 2 times in a row at home, I was like, yeah, this could definitely be an L for the Suns. Like it wouldn't surprise me. And then I had to catch myself and be like, but why?
Yeah.
Like this Suns team is by far more than capable of winning both of these games. And obviously they did. So I feel like I'm still having to catch myself to keep those old habits from coming back up.
For me, it's a little of just kind of logic. I mean, and I don't mean that in a rude way. I just mean it in winning 15 straight games is not something that happens. It would only be the second time it's happened in Suns history. It would be tied for the second longest win streak in the franchise history. That's 53 years now. Like that's something that logically you go at some point you will likely lose a game. So I think that's what creeps in for me is just you're thinking, oh, well, could it be this? You know, could
I love that comment.
So says Jay in the chat. Logic is never rude. Very true. But when you look at it, you go, okay, eventually it will come to an end. And if they are looking forward to the Nets and the Warriors and these two really big matchups, the Knicks seem like the logical place where it could happen because you are so focused on those next few games. And maybe that's just the fans because we're all going, okay, let's get to those litmus tests so we can look around the league and go, yeah, for real. Stop the oh well, who knows? The Suns haven't beaten anybody really great. You know, the national talk like that.
Right.
But you know, to me, you just everything points to this could be the night that the letdown happens. And it's not really even a letdown. You know?
No, it's not. I mean, listen, you're not going to win 82 games in a season. Like you're going to lose some games. It's not that big of a deal. But to your point with these win streaks, let's just remind everybody. So the last time the Suns won 14 straight was in 1992. So that was before a lot of people who were even born who are Suns fans these days. And then the last time they won 15 straight was in 2006. So that was a little bit more. Wait, that doesn't make
2006,
sense.
7.
Okay, yeah. Well, then it wasn't the last time the Suns won 14 straight. It was their last 14 straight win streak was in 1992. The last time they won 15 straight was in 2006, and then 2006 as well when they won 17 straight, which is the franchise record. So it has been a little bit of time. Those were some solid teams, as is this one. So like you said, we just got to put those feelings aside and not listen to the national media and just trust our guts and our team that they know what they're doing and they're going to play hard.
Well, and look, the Suns are a better team than the Knicks. I'm not breaking news there. I'm not jumping out on some ledge. Knicks fans may disagree, but Knicks fans always think their team's great even when they suck. In most cases, or at least they were not willing to admit publicly that they think their team isn't very good. This Suns team is significantly better than this Knicks team. It's just, will they come out focused and play their game? We've seen them ebb and flow. We've talked about it. We have not seen a complete 4 quarters from this team yet, even in this 14-game win streak. So can they come out and can they stay focused? That's the key. They can win. They have the talent to beat the Knicks 9 out of 10 times you face them, but will they put the game together tonight? And that's what it's going to take. I mean, that's not, again, not breaking news, but that's what this is right now. Until we get to Nets, until we get to the Warriors, it's, do you stay out of your own way and you're going to win these games when you're playing inferior competition?
Yep. And we will find out in about 7 minutes when Suns at Knicks tips off. Before we let you go, we want to remind you guys that there is a Black Friday sale happening in the PHNX locker right now. So it's 50% up to 50% off everything in that locker. It's a great time to pick up some PHNX merch if you have not already. And if you become a member, by becoming a member, you get a $60 credit to our locker. So now is literally the best time, if you haven't already become a member, to become a member, because you're going to get access to the sweet content that is on gophnx.com. You're going to get a $60 credit to our locker, and then you're going to get all of the deals up to 50% off all the shirts and merch that are in there. So this is a package served to you on a silver platter.
You actually wind up getting your annual membership for -2 cents is the way it works out when you get that cash credit. And then to your point, you could basically have your entire closet, your entire wardrobe can be those sweet PHNX shirts with that great deal as well. Take that $60 and get yourself, I think it's like 4 shirts, depending on how you spend, with that up to 50% off. I added 4 new ones into my wardrobe today using the sales. So I hope you guys hit it up too and support what we're doing here and turn this into a trend. It was so cool the other night when we saw a PHNX shirt on the sidelines at a Suns game courtside. That was next level, and we're glad you guys are enjoying the gear. A couple comments in the chat before we get out of here. Joshua in the chat said, if we're going to end the streak, let's do it against a good team like the Warriors or Nets, not the Knicks. And then Long John said, I'd rather lose it to the Knicks than the Warriors or Nets. What do you feel, Lindsay? Would you rather lose it to a team that is technically, based on the roster, inferior to yours, or would you rather lose it to a Nets or Warriors team?
If in this scenario we lose to the Knicks but beat the Nets and the Warriors, I would prefer that. If the scenario is beat the Knicks but lose to the Nets and the Warriors, I could give a damn about a win streak at that point, because like Long John Silver said, if the streak ends against a good team, the media would just say, see, told you so.
Yep.
And I'm right there with you, Long John. Like, I totally agree that they would say something like that. They'd be like, yeah, sure, the Suns won 14 straight or 15 straight, But when they had to actually show up to against good teams, they weren't able to do it. And that would become the narrative within mainstream media.
Yeah.
But if we lose to the Knicks and beat the Nets and the Warriors, or one of the two, they would be like, oh, so the game against the Knicks, like, it was just inevitable that the streak was going to end at some point in time. And it just happened to be against the Knicks. So I think I would rather lose the streak against the Knicks, long story short, and beat the Nets or the Warriors or both.
I'd rather be with Fabio and say, fuck losing. Let's just win the rest of the games on the schedule and call it good. I think that's where I'm at. But
never
but
lose
I get
a game again.
I get your mentality, Lindsay. I think I'd roll that way, as Robert York says. Fam. What the fuck we talking about losing? Amen to that, Robert. I hear you. And for your liver's sake, though, you did say you do 15 shots if they win tonight. So I don't know if your liver's rooting for a Suns win or not, but we'll find out after the game.
I feel like you should pace those out throughout the game, like just to help your body.
We don't each your own. I mean, do it. I'm not going to play dad here. Do whatever you want. I mean, Robert, that's up to you. But you're going to look a lot like your Chuck E. Cheese avatar if you do 15 of those bad boys. But
all I know is that I've already been accused of RIPing people. I don't need Robert on that list with me as well. Okay, I don't need any more people.
Robert would like you to know that he'll be fine regardless.
Okay, so. All right, good to know.
We'll see how your comments are after the game. So.
Yes, we will be right back here following the game. So come hang out with us post game as we break everything down. Until then, enjoy the game. You can follow along with us on Twitter at PHNX_Suns. Espo, I will see you in about 2.5, 3 or so hours.
Yeah, feel free to message me in the Slack if you want to talk any topics. Otherwise, we can just make it up as we go after the game.
All right, sounds awesome. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in a little bit.
Ahoy, hoy.